Let me tell you about a man who owned an entire city. Not metaphorically, literally. He paid the police, he bribed the judges, he funded the politicians, and the people, they kind of loved him for it. He was pulling in $60 million a year in the 1920s. That's over $1 billion in today's money. And you know what finally brought him down? Not murder, not robbery, not the hundreds of crimes everyone already knew he committed. Taxes. A stack of paperwork, an IRS agent with a magnifying glass, and a courtroom. That's it. And when they locked him up, they didn't send him to just any prison. They sent him to a place built specifically for people they couldn't control anywhere else. A rock in the middle of San Francisco Bay. Alcatraz. Today we're going deep into the life of Al Capone, the most powerful gangster America has ever seen, and into the story of the prison that was supposed to break him. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to look at both of them very differently. Stick around, this one's worth every minute. Al Capone. Full name, Alphonse Gabriel Capone, born January 17, 1899 in Brooklyn, New York. His parents, Gabriele and Teresa Capone, were Italian immigrants from Naples. They came to America chasing the same dream millions of others were chasing: a better life, more opportunity, a fresh start. What they got was a cramped apartment in Brooklyn and years of hard, grinding poverty. Al was the fourth of 9 children. He grew up surrounded by noise, struggle, and survival instinct. And from the very beginning, he was different. At 14 years old, he got into a fight with a teacher who hit him first. Al hit back. He was expelled. He never went back to school again. That same year, he started running with street gangs, small stuff at first, petty crime, neighborhood hustles. But Al had something most people around him didn't. He was smart, charismatic, and completely fearless. He caught the attention of Johnny Torrio, a seasoned mob operator who saw potential in the teenager and eventually brought him to Chicago. And Chicago, that's where everything changed, because 1920 was the year Prohibition began. The United States government made it illegal to manufacture, sell, or transport alcohol nationwide. Done. Over. Now, here's the thing about human nature. You don't stop wanting something just because a law says you can't have it. People still wanted to drink, desperately, and someone had to supply that demand. Al Capone became that someone. He built an underground empire that covered speakeasies, hidden bars operating behind fake storefronts, bootlegging operations running alcohol from Canada and homemade distilleries, gambling dens and brothels across Chicago. At his peak, his organization was pulling in an estimated $60 million per year. Adjust that for inflation, and you're looking at well over $1 billion annually by today's standards. And here's what made Capone genuinely fascinating. He wasn't just brutal, he was strategic. He ran soup kitchens during the Great Depression. He fed unemployed workers. The press photographed him at baseball games, smiling, waving. To a significant portion of Chicago, he was almost a folk hero. But behind that smile was a man who had built his empire on violence, intimidation, and absolute control. Let's talk about how Capone actually maintained power, because this is where it gets dark. His organization, known as the Chicago Outfit, wasn't just a gang, it was a parallel government. Police officers were on his payroll. That means cops actively protected his operations and looked the other way. Judges were compromised. That means the legal system, the very thing designed to stop people like him, was neutralized. Politicians attended his dinners. That means City Hall itself was partly his. And anyone who stepped out of line, whether a rival gang or someone inside his own organization, faced brutal consequences. In 1924, rival gang leader Dion O'Banion cheated Capone in a business deal and publicly disrespected him. Capone's man walked into O'Banion's flower shop in broad daylight and shot him dead. Police investigated. Nothing came of it. But then came the moment that changed everything. February 14th, 1929, St. Valentine's Day. Capone's men, some of them dressed in police uniforms, lured 7 members of the North Side gang to a garage on North Clark Street in Chicago. They told them it was a routine check. Then they lined them up against the wall and opened fire with Thompson submachine guns. 7 men dead in a matter of seconds. The country was shocked, not just by the violence, but by the sheer audacity of it. This wasn't back alley crime anymore. This was organized, military-style warfare on American streets. Officially, Capone was in Florida at the time. He had an alibi. He always had an alibi. But this was the moment the federal government decided enough was enough. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover turned his full attention to Capone. The problem? No direct evidence tied Capone to any murder. Witnesses refused to testify. Juries were tampered with. So the government came at him from a completely different angle. A young IRS agent named Frank Wilson spent 6 years going through coded ledgers, tracing hidden bank accounts, and following money trails that most people didn't even know existed. And what he found was simple, but devastating. Al Capone had never paid income taxes, not once, because officially he had no income. He was unemployed. In 1931, a federal grand jury indicted Capone on 22 counts of tax evasion. The trial was national news. Capone was so confident he could buy his way out that he allegedly bribed an entire jury pool beforehand. The judge found out at the last minute and replaced every single juror. October 1931, guilty on 5 counts. Sentence, 11 years in federal prison, $50,000 in fines, $215,000 in back taxes. He went first to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, but reports surfaced that even from prison, Capone was running his operation, getting special treatment, meeting with associates. So in August 1934, the Bureau of Prisons made a decision. Transfer him somewhere from which he cannot operate. Transfer him somewhere from which he cannot escape. Alcatraz. Picture this. A small island sitting in the middle of San Francisco Bay, just 1.5 miles from the city. You can see the skyline from the windows. You can hear foghorns at night. But the water between the island and the shore? It's some of the most dangerous water in the world. Bone cold, around 50 to 54 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Powerful, unpredictable currents. Strong tidal flows that pull you sideways no matter how hard you swim. That's Alcatraz. The Federal Penitentiary opened on July 1st, 1934. It was designed specifically to house the most dangerous, most escape-prone, most disruptive prisoners in the federal system. Men that other prisons simply couldn't manage. The design was intentional in every detail. 1 man per cell. Each cell was 5 feet wide and 9 feet long, roughly the size of a large bathroom closet. Extreme isolation, limited visits, 1 per month, 1 hour through reinforced glass. Silence policy. In the early years, inmates were forbidden from talking during meals. Enforced silence in the dining hall. No outside information, no newspapers, no radio. The outside world was deliberately kept out. The first warden was James A. Johnston, nicknamed Saltwater Johnston, a man known for iron discipline and zero tolerance for exceptions. And on August 22, 1934, a train carrying the most high-profile prisoner in American history pulled into San Francisco. Al Capone, inmate number 85. Think about that image for a second. The man who owned Chicago, the man with $1 billion empire, the man who had judges and politicians in his pocket. Now he was number 85, wearing prison gray, walking into a 9-by-5 cell. Warden Johnston had specific standing orders, no special treatment for Capone, none. Capone tried his old tricks. He attempted to establish a hierarchy among inmates, tried to send messages, tried to use his reputation to get leverage. Johnston sent him to solitary confinement. Message received. Now, Alcatraz had some genuinely extraordinary moments during its 29 years of operation. 1936. Capone himself was involved in an incident. An inmate named Jimmy Lucas attacked him in the barbershop with a pair of scissors. Capone was wounded but survived. Lucas's motive? He wanted to be famous. He wanted to say he stabbed Al Capone. That actually happened. May 1946, the Battle of Alcatraz. 6 inmates, led by Bernard Coy, attempted a full escape. They overpowered guards, seized weapons, and took hostages. The standoff lasted 2 full days. The United States Marines were called in. When it was over, 2 guards were dead, 3 inmates were dead, and 3 more were later executed. All 6 inmates had been captured or killed. Nobody got off the island. But the most famous escape attempt, the one that's never been fully solved, happened in June 1962. Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin spent months planning. They carved holes in their cell walls using makeshift tools, spoons, nail clippers, anything they could get. They made papier-mâché heads stuffed with real human hair from the prison barbershop and placed them in their beds so guards on night rounds would think they were sleeping. The night of June 11th, they disappeared into the bay. They were never officially found. The FBI concluded they likely drowned. Case closed. But then, in 2013, a letter arrived at the San Francisco Police Department. The letter claimed to be from John Anglin, written from South America. He claimed all 3 men had survived, that they'd lived in plain sight for decades. The letter's handwriting was analyzed and considered potentially authentic. Dental records were referenced. The case was reopened, briefly, and then quietly went cold again. To this day, no one knows for certain what happened to those 3 men. That's Alcatraz. Even its unsolved mysteries are legendary. Now, back to Capone. He spent 5 years at Alcatraz, from 1934 to 1939, and those 5 years destroyed him. Not through violence, not through punishment, through disease. Capone had contracted syphilis years earlier, likely in his early 20s, and never treated it properly. At Alcatraz, with limited medical care and no access to proper treatment, the disease progressed to his brain. Neurosyphilis. Guards and inmates began noticing the change. He became confused, disoriented. He'd wander through the prison yard with a childlike expression. He'd forget where he was. He'd have conversations that made no sense. The most feared gangster in American history was losing his mind in a 9x5 cell on a rock in the middle of San Francisco Bay. He was transferred out in 1939, served the remainder of his sentence at Terminal Island in California, and was released in 1940. He went home to his wife, May Capone, at their Palm Island estate in Florida, and he never recovered. January 25th, 1947, Al Capone died. He was 48 years old. Cause of death, cardiac arrest, complicated by pneumonia and advanced neurosyphilis. The man who once controlled an empire worth $1 billion died in a secluded mansion, mentally diminished, largely forgotten by the criminal world he had built. Now, let's step back for a second, because this story is not just about crime. It's about something much bigger. Al Capone believed, genuinely believed, that he was above the system, that money could buy everything, that power meant invincibility. And for a while, he was right. He bought the police, he bought the courts, he bought politicians. He ran an entire city for over a decade. But one thing he never accounted for was the slow, unglamorous, methodical grind of a man like Frank Wilson, an IRS agent who just kept going. 6 years of paperwork, 6 years of following numbers. No dramatic confrontations, no shootouts. Just relentless, patient work. And that's what brought down Al Capone. Not a rival gang, not a better criminal. A tax return. And Alcatraz, the rock, it served its purpose completely. From 1934 to 1963, it held 1,576 inmates total. There were 14 escape attempts involving 36 men. 5 were shot and killed, 23 were caught and returned, 2 drowned confirmed, and those 3, Morris and the Anglins, officially listed as presumed drowned. 0 confirmed successful escapes in 29 years. The message Alcatraz sent to the criminal world was clear. There are consequences that money cannot buy you out of. There are walls that connections cannot open. There is a system, slow and imperfect as it may be, that will eventually catch up. Al Capone lived his final years in a fog. His empire was dismantled. His organization splintered. The city he once owned moved on without him. Alcatraz still stands on that island. It's a tourist attraction now. 1 million people visit every year. But walk through those cell blocks. Stand in front of cell 181, where Capone slept for 5 years. Put your hand on those cold iron bars and think about what it means when someone truly believes they are untouchable. So that's it, the full story. A boy from Brooklyn who built the most powerful criminal empire in American history, brought down by paperwork, locked away on a rock, and ultimately defeated not by a rival, but by his own body and his own ego. Al Capone is one of those rare figures where the truth is actually more fascinating than the myth. The myth says he was invincible. The truth says he was profoundly, fatally human. At Alcatraz, it was never just a prison. It was a statement. It was America saying no one is too big to lock away. If you made it this far, genuinely, thank you. This video took serious research, and I want you to know every fact you heard in it is documented and verified. If you found it valuable, hit that like button. It helps this channel more than you know, and it tells YouTube that this kind of deep dive content is worth recommending. Subscribe if you want more of this. We go deep here. No fluff, no filler. Just real history told the way it deserves to be told. And drop a comment below. I want to know what you think. Did Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers actually survive? That 2013 letter is real. The handwriting analysis is real. What's your theory? Share this video with someone who loves history or true crime. I promise they'll thank you for it. Next episode, we're going somewhere equally dark and equally fascinating. You don't want to miss it. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical. I'll see you in the next one.